I had a 12 a.m. meeting. Then I blinked, and I was in Alexandria. 48 BC. Again. Third time this month. Anyway, let me tell you what I saw. In 48 BC, Alexandria was the most advanced city on Earth. 1 million people, running water, street lighting, a postal system that actually worked. I work in a building that still uses a fax machine. These people were centuries ahead of us in several ways. And at the center of all of it, the Mauseon, the world's first university. And inside it, the Great Library. 700,000 scrolls. Every significant text the ancient world had ever produced. Euclid worked here. Archimedes. A man named Eratosthenes calculated the circumference of the Earth with a stick and a shadow. He was accurate to within 1%. With a stick. We lost all of his working notes. This was not a library the way you're thinking of a library. This was the operating system of the ancient world. Scholars came from every corner of the Mediterranean to work here. Ships arriving at Alexandria's port were boarded by officials. Any scrolls found on board were confiscated, copied, and the copies were returned to the ship. The originals stayed. The library didn't just collect knowledge, it actively hunted it. Inside these walls, original manuscripts of Sophocles, the first known treatise on anatomy, mathematical proofs that wouldn't be independently rediscovered for another 1,000 years. And then, slowly, it all went away. Here is what actually happened to the Library of Alexandria. As Rome absorbed Egypt, royal patronage dried up. The Museon stopped receiving funding. Scholars stopped coming. Scrolls weren't copied. Papyrus decays in roughly 200 years without active preservation. In 391 AD, a Christian mob destroyed the Serapeum, a secondary collection. More knowledge gone. By the time Arab forces arrived in 642 AD, most historians believe there was very little of the original collection left to destroy. It had already been dying for 5 centuries. But some people knew what was coming, long before the end. There are accounts, fragmented, disputed, of scrolls being removed, copied, hidden, moved to places that wouldn't fall. We don't know how many made it out. We don't know where they went. We know some of them are still out there. You've been told that Julius Caesar burned it down. He burned ships in the harbor in 48 BC. Some warehouse fires spread. Some texts stored near the docks were lost. But Caesar's own account of the harbor fire doesn't mention the library, because he didn't burn the library. Scholars were still working there for centuries after this. The fire story is clean. It's satisfying. It gives history a villain and a date. It's also mostly wrong. The real story doesn't have a villain. It doesn't have a single dramatic night. It has something much harder to make into a story. It has 500 years of people deciding it wasn't worth the budget. 700,000 scrolls. We have recovered maybe a few thousand ancient texts from all sources across the entire ancient world. Aristotle wrote over 200 works. We have 47. 3 of the greatest Greek dramatists each wrote over 100 plays. We have 1 each. We don't know what we lost. That's the part that actually bothers me. We might have had germ theory by 200 AD. We might have reached space during the Renaissance. We don't know. We will never know. Next time, I'll tell you about the 17 scrolls that scholars believe were smuggled out of Alexandria before the end, where they went, and what they might have contained. Anyway, I have another 9 a.m.